Okay, welcome back, and this is part 4 of our modeling our castle. So I see we've got a couple spires that are over here, so let's go ahead and add those to this. So I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate, Control D. Okay, like that. And let's go ahead, and these are about the same exact size, so I'm going to go to the front view. Okay, and I'm going to see our reference is kind of getting in the way, so I'm going to turn the reference off and just make it invisible just for a second. And I'm going to right click over this, go to vertex mode, and marquee select the very top and move it down so they're both even. Okay, I'm also going to make this smaller. Okay, and I might have to go back. Let me Control Z back. I'm just going to make this smaller, so I'm going to go ahead and scale that. Now notice if I scale this, it scales it down. I want it to scale down from here, from the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to move the pivot point. Let me show you how to do that. So I'm going to hit the W key. I'm going to hold the D key down, the D as in dog, and move it down with the arrow to the bottom. Okay, which is really cool. And when I let off, it kind of basically sets it up. And then I'm going to hit the R key, and then I can scale it from here, like that. So I'm going to scale it down to about the size or the thickness of what's in the reference. See, those are a lot smaller in size, so I'm going to make those a little bit smaller. And I'm also going to move this up, so I'm going to go ahead and move that up, hit the W key and move that up to match the other one. Okay, like that. There we go. And you can see that they're not, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of get rid of the things around it. Also, I can do a couple things here to make it look more like the other one. So we've got the reference that looks kind of like, let's zoom in a little bit, it's kind of hard to tell by the way I got it angled. Looks like it's just part of that round area there. So what I'm going to do is from the perspective view, okay, and we're going to get that in the corner. So let me take a look at that. Yeah, it's kind of coming out. So I'm going to move that over a little bit more, like this, so it matches up like that. So I can take this whole piece off. So I'm going to go to face mode. I'm going to select all those pieces right here. I'm marquee selecting it. See how I'm doing that from the top view? Yep. So we click on that guy again, right click over and go to face mode, and marquee select everything in there like that. And I'm going to go to the perspective view, and let's see if I did that right. I'm going to rotate around. Yeah, that looks right. So I'm going to delete that there like that, so it kind of fits in with that area there, which is kind of cool. And that looks pretty good, except we got that guy right there, so I can take that face right there and move it down. There we go, like that. So we don't see that anymore. So it looks like it's part of that whole thing. That's pretty cool. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and take that and duplicate it, Control D, and move it over. Again, I'm going to rotate that around so it fits the other side. I'm going to go to the top view and just kind of rotate that around like that. Okay, and move it over a little bit more so it fits. Now notice I got some, I don't know, some jankiness right here with that. I missed a couple of faces, so I'm going to go back to face mode. I'm going to select those faces like that and hit the delete key, clean that up, And do the same thing over here. Go to face mode, select that one and delete it. Select this one and delete it. Okay, selection mode. That looks pretty good so far. All right, cool. And then we have an entryway with the door. So let's have a big door there. Kind of like a drawbridge type of thing. Okay, so far so good. And I might even want to move this back a little bit more to give it a little more width. So I'm going to go to the top view. And I'm going to go right click over the vertices here. And I'm just going to give it a little more width here, which is going to be kind of nice. Kind of just give it a little more thickness to make it a little more awesome. All right, that's looking pretty good. All right, so I think it's time to add some doors, okay, and windows, okay, so those are easy to do. So I'm going to add some windows to this guy right here. So I'm going to go to selection mode. I'm going to start with this guy right here. We don't have any windows on the walls, but we got some windows in here, so we'll add those, okay. All right, so to add those, I'm going to hit the Q key, just select in object mode and go to hold the shift key down, right mouse button, go to edge loop. And I'm going to add edge loops where I think I want the windows to be. So I'm going to go ahead and make it a fairly large window so we can see it. And I'm going to make a couple all the way around. So I'm going to go in here, make selection, and go to face mode, and just kind of select some parts. I'm going to have a lot more windows than the other. I'm going to move around. Let's see, click on one and move and miss like 3 of them. I'm going to hold the control key to deselect. So every 3. So select one and then go 3 without selecting, and select another one. Go 3, select another one. And then go 3. I went 2 on that one, so let me go 3 on that. So there we go. Something like that. Looks kind of cool. Alright, so I'm going to go around here. Zoom in. Go 3 over. Make a selection. There we go. That looks pretty good. Okay. Right, and then I'm going to do Control E, and with the arrow I'm just going to move it in. There we go. So it gives me kind of a window like that. Alright, so I'm going to click off. There we go. So there's our windows. When I click off, you can see we have our windows in there, which is cool. Alright. So I'm going to do the same thing with this guy right here. And these windows, I'm going to make a little bit bigger than those windows. But I'm going to go ahead and hit the Q key to get out of that mode. And hold the shift and right mouse button, go to insert edge loop tool. And these windows are a little bit smaller, so I'm going to have to add edge loops right here and here, here and here. And then I'm going to go down. How far do I want to go down from the top? Probably right about here. Here and here. There we go. Looks pretty good. So I'm going to right click and go to face mode and then select these 2 faces there. And they're not very good. They're not, I think one's wider than the other one. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to select the edge and just move it. Move it over so it matches the other one a little better. Okay, select, there we go. It remembered what I selected, but if it doesn't, I can just select them again. By holding the shift key, I can do multiple selections, right? Holding the shift adds selections, and control deselects them. Okay, so I'm going to do Control E, which is extrude, and extrude those in. Just like that. Just make sure you don't have any, you're not selecting anything on the other side by accident. Okay, there we go. All right, and then we got kind of like a doorway or something, or another. Anyway, I'm not worried about that. But there's our windows. Okay. I don't see any windows on those two, but I bet you there's windows on this guy. So let's go ahead and add a couple windows here, but they need to be the same width. Okay, so I'm going to go to the front view, and I'm just going to go to edge mode and make this edge, just double click on that edge and move it over a bit, because I want to have the same. Let's see if I can get that to work. Let's double click on that and double click on the top one, and let's go ahead and select this one too. I'm gonna hit the Q key, rotate around there because I'm wanting to get that all that down all around. There we go, finally got it. And I'm gonna move it over, but I got to move this top part over too, otherwise it's gonna look kind of weird. So select those two, hit the W key and move that over like that. So those windows look about the same width. There we go. Good. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead in here, and I'm going to go to selection mode, and I'm going to go hold the shift and right mouse button, go to insert edge loop tool, and just kind of place some windows in here right above the drawbridge. I'm going to make them pretty big. And then I'm going to go ahead and just put the drawbridge line in there. Okay, so we're going to make it the drawbridge and the windows at the same time. So I'm going to go to face mode. I'm going to select this guy, and this whole piece here will be the drawbridge. So I'm going to go Control E. I'm going to hit the green arrow and whoops, not that one. I guess that's not the one I wanted. Nope. And I got other pieces selected by accident, so I'm going to go Control Z back and click off and try it again. And hit the W key, Q key, and select these pieces again. Okay, for some reason those other pieces got selected. You don't want to make that mistake. You can, if you do Control E, everything you have selected by accident will extrude, and it'll mess you up really bad. So alright, so now I'm going to go back to 5, and I haven't done Control E yet, so Control E, and then move that with the blue. There we go. Okay, just a little bit. Okay, now notice that because this face is too close to the other face, so I'm going to have to go into my edge mode, my edge loop mode, and select this one. And I'm just going to have to move that up just a smidgen, and that will take care of the problem that I'm having there. There we go. All right, and then we make a cube for the drawbridge. Okay, like that. So make a cube for the drawbridge. Like that, move that over like that. Okay. The drawbridge is down. And move that over. And I've got to kind of like put it on a hinge so I know exactly how big I should do it. So, that's a little bit too wide. I'm going to hit wireframe so I can see what I'm doing here, and then I'm going to hit the 5 key again. So it's a little bit too wide. So I'm going to bring that in a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to move that pivot point. So I'm going to hit the W key and hold the D key down and then move it back. Okay, like that. Okay, and then hit the E for rotate. So I'm going to rotate it up, and that drawbridge is way too big. So I'm going to pull it up, and I'm going to, the rotate axis should be -90. So I'm going to type in -90 on there. There we go. And I'm going to move it out just a little bit so it fits in that hole. And then from the front view, I'm going to hit the 5 key. I'm going to, because I need to see the wireframe, I'm going to click on wireframe, like this guy right here. Okay, if you hover over it, it'll say wireframe on shaded. So now I can see how big the door is. So now I'm going to go ahead and hit the R key, and then scale that down like that. Now I can go in here and hit the E key and then rotate it back down. Flat on the ground here. There's really no ground yet. But you can see right here, I should have, let's see here, from the side view, I'm going to hit the F key. And I can flatten that out a little bit like that. And that can be 0, I guess. I can just type in 0 on the rotate X and hit enter. There we go. And there it is. So there's our drawbridge. Okay. What else do we have? We've got some other windows we can put in. We don't see any windows here. So what I can do though is I don't really need these anymore because we've got the windows in. So I'm going to delete that and delete that. And so I'm just going to take this guy, go into object mode. So I'm going to go back into object mode here. Hit the W key and do a control D and bring that over like that. And then click on this guy here and do a control D, and move that over. Now I feel more comfortable going to the top view and moving these over because I can get a lot more precise in the movement here. There we go. And that looks pretty good. So if I hit the wireframe unshaded, I can kind of see everything so far that I have. It looks pretty good. Okay, I have to say it looks pretty good. It's not exact, but when I click the wireframe off, you can see that looking pretty good so far. Alright, so I'm happy with what I got so far, so I'm going to go ahead and go to File, Save Scene As, and on to number 5. Okay, and that's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.